Hey,
Matt.
This is a very special recording of James Bonding. You're listening to our first ever recorded in two pieces episode of James Bonding. We recorded before we saw Spectre, literally right before.
The morning
of. We recorded outdoors at the Sycamore Kitchen on La Brea.
November 29th.
Yeah, we saw the movie, and you'll hear our pre-excitement, and then you'll hear our...
Let's not say what we thought of it. You got to listen to our
listen to the
excitement.
So the first half of the episode is going to be completely spoiler-free, because we don't know what the fuck's happening, because we're on our way to see it. But the second half of the episode is Spoiler City.
We saw the movie Spoiler City. We didn't even see Spectre. And then you will find out...
10 spoilers, get the 11th for just a penny.
So it's our first reactions, having seen it. And we'll do another episode somewhere down the road where we let it sink in and take a big bath in Spectre's black ink tentacle oil.
Yeah, and we'll plow through it the way we plow through all the movies. So
you know what? I can't speak right now because I'm giddy with anticipation for seeing it a second time.
You look like you're ready to go. You have a nice cardigan on.
If that's any indication of how we felt,
you're just ready to go. Your beard's looking great.
Yours too.
Thanks, buddy.
Let's do this.
Bearded. It's winter.
Enjoy
Spectre.
Now entering Nerdist.com.
Matt and James Bonding Podcast. James Bonding Podcast. It's the 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 James Bonding Podcast with Matthews, Myra, and Gorley. Matthews, Gorley, and Myra, podcast of James Bond. Matthews, Gorley, and Myra, podcast of James Bond. James Bonding Podcast, James Bonding Podcast, James Bonding Podcast, James Bonding Podcast. Matt and James Bonding Podcast.
Well, it's Thursday.
Oh, boy.
October
guys.
29th. It's
2015 year of our Lord.
Yeah, 8:30 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
Matt and I are sitting at the Sycamore Kitchen here in Los Angeles, California. I've been up since 4 a.m. because the winds were so heavy that it sucked the 5-foot living room window off our second floor.
Now, a lot of people would consider that a sign that you should probably move out.
Yeah, well, we're going to. That's the other thing, is we got another 2 weeks in there, so the place has gone to hell. But, Matt, why are we here on this special occasion so early?
Well, Matt, we have to get over to Century City at 10 a.m. for a screening of Spectre.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. Are you excited?
I am.
Is this not a Christmas in October?
It's such a Christmas in October that I woke up at 7, unprompted, no alarm needed. I just got up like a kid ready to open his presents.
You ran into the living room?
I was like, it's today.
I ran into my living room because the window had been blown out.
Did you yell out that window to a pauper, "What day is it, sir?"
Buy me the finest capon you can find, boy.
So we get to see it. England has been, the UK has been able to see it since Sunday, right? It came out on the 25th or 26th there.
Yeah.
So they've had a few days on us.
Uh-huh.
We have been kept spoiler-free. I have.
Yeah, I have too, for the most part.
Great.
Well, some people in England have been sending tweets like, here's a picture of this and this, which they're not plot spoilers, but now I know one thing that I didn't want to know until I saw it.
Right. I've been lucky in that. They must be tweeting to the James Bonding Pod account.
No, to me.
Oh, well. People
to
respect
be honest, I
my...
don't even look at that anymore because I'm so afraid of spoilers.
As you shouldn't until after today, until about 12:45 p.m.
That's right.
Because it's going to be a long movie.
Yeah, the longest one yet.
You have no sleep, and you're going to see this, and it's hopefully going to keep you awake the whole time.
I'm just pouring coffee straight into my eyeballs.
Well, we should talk about how you drink coffee.
It's the only way I know to do it. It's the only way I know.
Matt's been blind since he was 17.
This is just going to be an audio experience for me.
No, we're very excited. Dory was kind enough to say, hey, do you want to go to this screening of Spectre?
I like how she had to ask.
I was like, of course I do.
Yeah.
but I'm only going if Matt Corley can go.
Wow.
That's exactly what I said.
That's beautiful.
And then they said, of course we can go. We just have to not talk about it until November 2nd, which I don't understand because England and Scotland and Ireland, they've all been able to see it already.
Right. Yeah.
What would I spoil?
Cat's out of the bag. There are reviews. I've seen some headline reviews, all of them good, which is exciting.
Yeah, I've yet to see I wonder if this is Rotten Tomatoes. It's got to be in the 90s, right? As far as how fresh it is.
Oh, I haven't even looked.
Wait, do you want to look? Is that going to spoil anything for us?
If you just look at the fresh meter.
The Frieder.
The Frieder.
Oh, boy. Spectre. And it does not seem like our speculations on the podcast have been...
No, we got it all wrong.
We got it all wrong,
That
which
I'm
I'm
sure of.
so happy about.
Me too.
We really, really bummed ourselves out there for no reason. I mean, it's their fault for cutting a trailer like that would make us be bummed out for no reason. What do we
right.
get?
79%.
Oh, it's only 36 people checking in so far.
Want to see 99%.
36 people checking in, guys.
Is
we
that
can't.
pretty
We can't.
low?
That's a low number of people checking in so far. I mean,
I'm
if you
surprised
look
that-
at a big blockbuster like a Jurassic World, I'm sure it's got dozens more. I'll look it up right now. Jurassic World. Of course, that was out this summer. 2,582 people checking in on that.
How? But it's already been out in the UK. I don't know why there hasn't been more. I guess they've got... Well, they've got 3 newspapers over
They have
there.
a population the size of California.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to a press screening today, right?
Yes, we are.
So it's just going to be you, me, and Gene Shalit, or what?
Yes,
Thank you.
Gene Shalit will be there. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're getting our coffee delivered
Yeah,
to us.
right into the
Matt's,
eyeballs.
Matt's mocha has arrived. It's too bad he can't even see the beautiful design on the milk froth. And guy that just walked into the restaurant looked at us like we were crazy because we're sitting at this table with a couple of microphones outdoors. Maybe he's an audio guy and he can't believe how terrible the sound is going to be.
I think this will sound better than you think for the conditions.
No, I'm sure it will sound fine.
Yeah.
Because we have to essentially eat these microphones to get them to pick up our
That's right.
audio. So I'm assuming that everything that's happening on La Brea, one of the busier thoroughfares in Hollywood,
True.
is not bleeding through too badly.
And I still can't hear you, so I'm just assuming this is all going
Well,
to
it
be
looks
okay.
like I'm checking in on there.
Yeah.
I feel like it's your headphones.
Matt, name one thing you really want to see in this movie and one thing you don't want to see.
Okay. One thing I would really like to see is good gadgets that aren't too far-fetched.
Tough to do, right?
Good, not far-fetched gadgets.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
That is one thing I'd like to see. One thing I would not like to see is James Bond going rogue and getting M pissed off. But it seems like I'm going to see that based on the trailers. That's something I would not like to see.
There was one little blurb I saw in an interview, and it said something of like, if the first 3 Daniel Craig films were the origin trilogy, this is Bond doing what he normally does.
That's all we wanted.
Isn't it? But
That's
then in
all
the
we asked
preview,
for.
he's going, make me invisible, and who knows? That's the exciting thing. We don't even know.
Maybe. Here's an idea. He had a fling with M's daughter, right? Didn't go well. And
I'll
he's
bet
like,
she's
Q,
real sexy.
could you...
Because Ray Fiennes a pretty good looking fellow.
I know. He's probably married well.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Maybe into some aristocracy in England.
That's
and,
a great idea for a Bond girl. M's daughter.
M's daughter.
Oh, man.
Thank you. Let's write that comic book.
But is
M's daughter, and then so he's worried. The MI6 Christmas party's coming, and he doesn't want to be spotted by her. So that's why he says to Q, "Make me invisible."
how badly do I want to go to the MI6 Christmas party with the shenanigans going in the copy room?
Oh
and,
boy!
Oh my god!
Plus all the gadgets going off in the background.
Oh,
because
man.
I assume they have it down in the lab.
Yeah.
That's where the party is.
Tanner and Q are just blitzed in the corner, kind of like maudlin and weeping to each other. I take that thing back about M's daughter because Daniel Craig and Ray Fiennes are pretty close in age, and so that would put M's daughter
I don't think that's ever stopped the character of James Bond before.
I know, but I think this new James
As we
Bond,
just learned from For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that did stop him, right? He didn't throw it in. That we know of.
But even so, the Carol Bouquet, that's the biggest age difference
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Well, I hope there's a better reason for him going invisible than the fact that he wants to go rogue.
Right.
That's what I hope.
Yeah.
What about you? One thing you'd like to see?
I would like to see that. I'm fine with one-liners as long as they're sort of organic and fit his character, as opposed to, I got into some deep water. I don't want those type of one-liners that are in there for the writers or for the audience. I want them in there because it makes sense for the character. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it does make sense for the character. It always does.
No.
It always makes sense.
No.
Because we've established that this character...
But Daniel Craig's character is not like that.
From they must have been late for a funeral in Dr. No forward.
I get that. But
This
Daniel
guy's
Craig...
always a corny motherfucker.
His one-liners always have... Like that's because you know what I can do with my little finger. Feels right in that exchange. It doesn't feel like, oh, let's throw in a joke that the audience will laugh at. There's a difference.
I don't know. I bet at university, Jimmy Bond was probably a real corny motherfucker.
Maybe, yeah.
And what's one thing you don't want to see? Well, you said you don't want to see that, but
that's both, huh?
Well, you want to see.
I guess that's what I don't want to see. What
you don't want to see shitty
see. Yeah. I want to see a spectacular death for Mr. Hinks. But one that's still believable in this world. That's what this Daniel Craig era has got it tough, because they got to pull off some spectacle, but they also got to make it seem real.
Yeah, I'll tell you, from the trailers, Hinks seems like quite a daunting henchman.
Yeah, I'm excited about him.
He's a big dude, that Dave Bautista.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I'm really excited about, and this is something that hit me yesterday: the opening title sequence. Those are always a joy. And I even feel like Skyfall, I liked it when I saw it, but the second and third time, it really hit me how good those titles are.
Right. Yeah, they all go... I'm trying to remember the Quantum of Solace one, and I can't.
Oh, it's all the sand dunes and bullets.
Yeah. Bullets and sand.
Yeah. That was kind of a one-off where the director went with a different company.
Bullets and snow, probably.
I'll take that. Bullets and snow.
I feel so sad that at 12:45 this afternoon we can't experience this for the first time again.
I know, this is it, huh? This is a huge culmination.
Yeah.
3 years ago, we went together in the rain to see Skyfall.
Holy shit. We sure did.
Man.
Well, I mean, obviously, of course, we're going to have to see this opening night when it releases wide. We're going to have to see it in IMAX.
Yes.
It's just the rule.
Yeah, so we got at least two more rounds of this.
We got a few more screenings coming.
Yeah.
And guests. We're going to have to, Paul Scheer's going to see it with us on opening night. And I think we might get a couple more people going along.
That's right.
And I think it's going to be a great... You're gonna be enjoying a very long podcast.
I think I may enjoy this more than Skyfall for the sheer fact that I've been able to remain generally spoiler-free.
I've remained so spoiler-free.
Yeah.
More so than... Maybe more than Skyfall. But definitely more spoiler-free than Casino Royale, more spoiler-free than Quantum of Solace. Even going back to Die Another Day, I read a shit ton of spoilers for that before it came out. Boy, oh boy. This movie, it's got a lot of boots I'm really excited about.
Well, I guess it's time for us to put down the mics, put in the food, put down the lever to the metal, and drive ourselves over to Bad Figure of Speech Alley, where I get things wrong, and watch the movie Spectre. Put the pedal to the metal.
Put the boot to the bonnet.
That's right. As Jerry Reed would say in Smoking the Bandit, put the hammer down, son. We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. We do. We got to scarf this food down and get over there, huh?
We'll follow up with our thoughts after Spectre.
Wish us luck. You'll be here soon enough.
It's the James Bonding Podcast. It's the James Bonding Podcast. It's the James Bonding Podcast. It's the James Bonding Podcast with Matthews, Myra, and Gorley.
Well, it's 5:28 on November 5th. Matt and I have already seen Spectre, and we're going to see it again tonight. And a lot of people are joining us. Matt isn't even here. He's 2 minutes away. He's pulling up, so I thought I'd just fire this up. We're at my place. I'm sitting here with Amanda Funbuns Lund. Marty?
Hello.
Are you excited about Spectre?
I am so excited. I haven't even come to terms with how excited I am because it's been such a busy road.
You mean getting to James Bond or your life?
My life.
Them or you?
Everyone. Getting there.
You're telling me our lives have been crazy lately.
I know, but I'm so, I know the excitement is going to hit me any minute now.
And then you'll probably faint and not even see the movie?
I'll faint. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You know, your episode with Maria is probably the most beloved James Bonding episode, if the feedback is to be believed.
That's so nice. I mean, that was just a thrill. And, you're not the only James Bond lover in the family.
Who?
You.
I know. Who's the other one?
Me.
There's another?
It's
Your
either me or
twin
Kitty.
sister. Well, Kitty isn't a fan of anything but big, fat mounds of food.
But I love Daniel Craig, and I loved Skyfall. I loved Casino Royale. I thought that other one was fine.
What are you anticipating with this movie? What do you think it's going to be? Tell me what you think the basic story or in a nutshell.
There's been a lot of keywords thrown around here for the last few months. Blofeld, brother.
Oh.
Back to the roots. Quilted doors.
Well, that's because I want a quilted door.
Oh, okay.
But,
I may have
but
got
there
that
is a
jumbled.
quilted door in this movie. Thank God.
I mean, I've heard it's fun. I mean, if it's up there with Mission Impossible 4.
5 too, right? Oh no,
Yeah.
4 was your favorite.
4 was my favorite.
I'm the Bond guy, and you're the Mission Impossible.
I'm the mission head.
You are the. I looked over at you in that last movie, and you were grinning from ear
Edge
to
of
ear.
my seat. I loved it. I love a thrill ride.
Yeah,
Come on in.
Matt's here. Matt, we just fired this up, and
Okay.
Amanda was warming up the mic for
Okay.
you.
Hi, nice to see you. Thank you. I'm giving him a hug.
Microphone hug.
Okay, I'm going to pass the torch. I'm thrilled. Okay, here you go.
I don't believe it for a second. She's kind of thrilled.
Matt, come on in. Yeah, unplug away.
Oh, were you charging up? Getting some juice before the film?
That's right. Sorry, the place is such a mess. We're about
Listen,
to
you're
move.
probably moving soon.
Yeah.
So that's understandable. Your Legos are out. You're ready to go.
Well, I was actually I'm building an
building the
archway
Moonraker?
that is so complicated, and it's 3 corners meeting one. I had to build a Lego model just so I could wrap my head around.
Oh boy, that is that true?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that you are in the midst of becoming a general contractor.
How are you? How was your ride over?
It was trafficky.
I'm sorry.
I left a little later than I wanted to. I just came from a podcast where I talked about Frasier. Now I'm ready to talk about James Bond.
Man, you're hitting all the sweet spots. I'm excited about tonight. Now, the anticipation is over. We've seen it.
We've seen it,
but I'm excited to get back in there a second time.
I'm excited to see it again. It's always good to watch a movie once the tension's gone.
Yes.
Once you know where it's going.
Once you know you like it, and maybe that's what we should say.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
I really liked it too.
Yeah.
I know I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter who are like, "Hey guys, I hear this movie's not good."
Me too. I've only seen
haven't
one
seen a
bad
bad
review. A guy that I guess I would consider a friend, Devin Faraci at Birth Movies Death.
Devin did not enjoy it?
He actively hated it.
Why? What were his reasons?
Well, I read his review, and I feel like they're valid reasons, but they didn't resonate with me. Like, the things that I think stuck out to him as so bad were the important things, but to me, they were the lesser things.
Absolutely.
And I found the things that I loved were probably lesser for him.
And that's exactly how we did a podcast earlier today with Nick Hornby, the author of High Fidelity, Fever
Was that
Pitch.
Nerdist?
Yeah, it was a Nerdist
Oh,
podcast.
nice.
And he was asking me about the Bond movies, where I ranked them and what I thought of this one. He liked Skyfall better than he liked Spectre, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, because now, as we get into this...
He's friends with Purvis and Wade, by the way.
Oh, I want to
And
know.
I did just toss out a whole, this whole time I've been blaming Purvis and Wade for all the stuff that's been wrong, and I feel like it might have been John Logan's fault, and he gave me a knowing look.
I think we've been wrong. Let's admit something. We were wrong about the On Her Majesty's Secret Service soft reboot, and I think we've been wrong all along about Purvis and Wade.
Let me back up a little bit
on
our prediction of the movie. Were we that wrong about it being On Her Majesty's Secret Service?
Good point, because it may be setting itself up
to become.
Let's double down.
Let's double down on our On Her Majesty's Secret Service thing. It's interesting because the movie, the elements, for the record, if you listen to our Spectrelation podcast, the elements that we're saying are, this is this guy, this is this person, are all there.
Yes, and I will say this. I have now gone back and read all of the Sony leaked studio notes for Spectre, and originally Irma Bunt was a character in this film.
You see?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Also, Blofeld was a woman at one point.
Okay, I'm into
Then he
that.
was an African.
Okay, that's cool too.
But all of it... you know what I've been finding out between this and Project Greenlight? Mm-hmm. I'm not so sure studio notes are a bad thing anymore. It's an easy thing to say those are a bad thing, but from what I read of that whole chain, and I read a lot about Spectre, the studio was...
diving into that. I didn't think to do that.
The studio was spot on going like, you got to change this, you got to change this. And... I think I will just say...
Sony was saying that, not Eon.
Sony, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was very little from Eon. It was all pretty much Sony. There is a really funny exchange where... what's her name? The head of Sony that had those bad emails come out. Amy
Pascal. Yeah.
Yeah. She writes in all caps at one point.
Love it.
But... it's not clear why. It just looks like she's shouting the entire time.
Oh, that's
it's worth checking out.
I'm totally gonna look that up now. That's great. I steered totally clear of that stuff because I didn't want the movie spoiled for me at all.
Yeah, me too.
But it's interesting, and here's how I defended Spectre to Nick Hornby. I said you have to look at the movie as a fan of James Bond movies, and as a fan of a James Bond movie, at no point in any of those movies does it register to us. Now, you and I, maybe, because we have to do a podcast where we have to break the plot apart.
Yeah.
But at no point when you're watching a James Bond movie does it really register to us, what is the bad guy's plot this time? It doesn't. It never really
that's
matters.
Never
it's always
the point.
The MacGuffin.
Yeah.
It's just an excuse to get James Bond out in the field with some gadgets.
Yeah.
And for him to sleep with at least two
It's
women.
not about the pasta, it's about the sauce.
That's right.
You know, also, Devin Faraci, I don't know why I feel like, maybe like you, I feel a little bit of a need to defend this movie. But he was saying, and I love Devin Faraci, he's probably one of my favorite movie critics, but we disagree on this.
I love his Twitter beefs. He's a lot of fun to follow.
But he was likening the reveal of Blofeld to Khan in J.J. Abrams' thing, where it's purely fan service because the audience doesn't... It's only fan service because it would mean nothing to characters in the movie. Now, this I don't think is really the case because when he says he's Blofeld, he doesn't do it so Bond will go, whoa, because Bond has no idea who Blofeld. It means nothing to him. He's just saying he changed his identity and he wants to go with his mother's lineage because he doesn't like his father's lineage. Now, you and I have talked about this. I didn't love the motivation that he was just jealous of James Bond for having done all of this. I think that's the weakest part of the film, but I don't think the reveal that he's Blofeld is bad.
Oh, you're saying, right. He's in childhood, he's jealous of James Bond.
Yeah, but that was enough for him to go on and do this entire thing.
And then my retort to you on that
which I liked,
which is if you're a fucking megalomaniac crazy person who's going to one day form an organization called Spectre that is hell-bent on counterterrorism and extortion, then of course something so tiny as theoretically of your dad liking the adopted kid more than you is going to set you off into crazy
You're going to
town.
be the type that's
You're going to be
bothered
crazy
by
town.
that. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
This is a crazy person. Blofeld, at no point in any of the James Bond movies to feature Blofeld do you sit and think, no, here's a rational, sane human being.
Right. Good point.
I really, for all those reasons, I think that what we wanted out of this movie, and I think we both agreed that we wanted to see a James Bond go off with some gadgets and on a mission given to him by M. We didn't know which M was giving him this mission.
No.
But M gave him a mission.
Oh, I never thought about that. We did get M on a mission.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, we did.
Boy, they got all their cake and ate it, too, in this one.
I think they did a fantastic job of servicing the James Bond franchise in this movie. And, there is the whole... It does kind of melt your brain a little bit when you start to think, oh, Blofeld's now just being introduced, so what does that mean for the previous movies? Does that mean that those happen after the thing with the character? And is Blofeld... My nose starts bleeding.
Well, just the fact that he engineered everything. Now, here's one...
It didn't need to be...
It
didn't need to do that.
No, it didn't. But at the same time, it does tie it with a neat little bow, and you can get away with that in a Bond movie. I think that's okay with me. Let's talk about the Vesper Lind videotape and how that comes up, and it never is brought back.
It doesn't have to be brought back because that's such a throwaway part of the movie. So for anyone watching the movie that hasn't seen Casino Royale, you're not gonna linger on it. You know what I mean? You're just gonna see Vesper Lind interrogation tape. James Bond has a moment, puts it down.
Yeah,
that's all you're gonna see. But for it is a point where James Bond, I think that's sort of them reminding you of Vesper and allowing James to sort of, the way he reacts to that, I think, is showing that this Daniel Craig's James Bond has put that behind him and is now ready to move forward with Tracy.
I see.
/ Miss Swan, whatever the fuck her name is.
Yeah. Now let's talk about that ending too. Do we want to go that far already?
I don't.
Let's break through the beats of the film. Let me first of all say, I put this thing on first viewing, and I'm about to see my second.
Yeah.
I would put it behind Casino Royale. I would put it above Skyfall.
I am 100% in agreement with you.
Okay.
That's exactly where I ranked it.
Then yeah.
And I ranked it that way, and I think I ranked it that way because of what I wanted from a James Bond movie. This delivered for me.
Yeah.
This delivered all the aspects of the franchise that everybody fell in love with.
Yeah.
From Goldfinger forward.
Yeah.
Crazy guy. Here's an Aston Martin. Here's a watch that blows up. Here's a fucking...
Yeah, literally.
It's like...
Watch. Yeah.
It's all the things you want.
All right, so the opening sequence, the first half of that opening sequence, I was 3 dicks in.
That was... Yeah, you Deus de la Muertes the fuck out of that. That was really... sort of a fun throwback to older James Bond movies, where you're in a country at a very cultural sort of event.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you're in Mexico City, and it's beautiful tracking shot through the crowd.
Yeah,
all
like
that
a
stuff.
long single take, Touch of Evil style.
Yeah.
Then you got that guy. What was his name? Sciarra or something.
Yeah.
He looked great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got in the helicopter and it just danced around, and that was a little...
Some people online were saying that was
anticlimactic.
such a great opening, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
I liked the opening. The helicopter thing felt like it needed a button of some kind that it didn't have, or something.
Yeah, maybe like a guy hanging from one of the.
He should have picked up a guy on a wheelchair.
One of the skis, yeah, and then he could dump him down a chimney.
Yeah,
I think would have been the
and it would have been Blofeld. The movie would have been over right there.
Done.
The opening titles. I wasn't a fan.
Can't even, honestly, you just saying that is the first time I've thought of them
it's
since
like
I've seen the movie.
H.R. Giger puked up an octopus.
I just remembered
and a bunch of fire comes
shirtless
in.
Daniel Craig. That's all.
Well, that I'm fine with.
Of course.
Yeah.
Man works hard for that physique.
He does. He sure does.
It's, upon viewing the movie, song did not get better.
I felt the titles in the song were a bit lackluster.
Song got a little worse for me.
But then maybe it'll grow, because Skyfall hit me like the second or third time. The titles.
The titles in Skyfall are great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed those the first time I saw them.
Yeah, I did too.
But this was whatever.
Yeah.
And then, where do we start? After this is the beauty of the cold open credit.
I know.
And where do we start?
Right
after
in the quilted door.
Office.
Oh my God! There's wood everywhere.
Wood, leather-bound books, everything you ever wanted from M's office is there. James is there, getting a dressing down from M. Love it.
He's not even getting a mission. He's already in trouble.
Yeah.
I think I love M most when Bond's in trouble.
Yeah, and it happens all the time.
Yeah.
and it's a fun relationship for them to have, and I think Ralph Fiennes is great as M. There's
I love
no
the way-
question about it.
yeah,
he plays a great M.
I love the way his role is emerging in this.
There is
too.
there is a little sort of like confusion as to Ben Wishaw's Q as to how versatile this guy is.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Like let me just say for the record, I loved seeing him show up in the field.
I did too.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic Desmond Llewellyn move. I thought that was perfect. I liked the I mean, where do we go? Like literally, it's amazing because you go from M's office, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the but what that tells you, right? So they're no longer in the new building, the formerly new building. They're no longer in the GoldenEye MI6,
Yeah.
right? Because that blew up in Skyfall.
Right.
They're now back in the old offices.
Yeah.
Which tells you somewhere along the line they vacated those offices, but there's always been this quilted door office sitting there, vacant. You know, while M was no longer in that office.
Right.
Then they moved back into
Yeah.
those digs, and there's that office. I thought that was a fun
I
little
gotta
treat.
look for that. Yeah.
But what they do, which is great, and this is why I enjoyed this movie so much, is immediately after that fun cold open scene of M's apartment, not M's apartment, M's office, don't they then immediately go down to Gadget Town?
I think so, and that's when he gets pumped full of midichlorians.
It's great.
Yeah.
You just-
The smart blood.
You tell me, Smart Blood a
Yeah.
little too ridiculous. I think you could have just easily just thrown the same chip in him you threw
Yeah.
in Casino Royale.
Also, because the delivery system was so similar that I thought, oh, they're giving him another one of these things.
Exactly.
Especially with so many tiebacks, other than just the plot tiebacks to
I don't
Casino
know why
Royale.
they couldn't just throw in a line of like, "This is so you can't rip it out again."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Even
Maybe.
though
Yeah,
he
that
doesn't,
would have
but
helped.
Le
That would have
Chiffre
helped
helped.
because they went the extra mile to do little thematic tiebacks too, like when M's in the office of Digby or whatever his
Yeah.
name is, Denby, and he takes the bullets out of his gun.
Yeah.
Same as the beginning of Daniel Craig,
Yeah.
except this time it goes to a C word.
Yeah. It's a fun cunt joke without saying it. Love it. So, you know, here's what and then you get to see a little interaction with Moneypenny. You get to see Bond's apartment for the first time since For Your Eyes Only. No, not since
Live and Let Die. Is that right?
Yeah. Because you see it in Dr. No.
Yeah.
You see it in Goldfinger?
I don't think so.
Is it just Dr. No and Live and Let Die?
I think it may
Wow.
be. Wow.
Yeah. So that's it. It's interesting, and it is interesting that Daniel Craig's James Bond doesn't bother decorating his apartment.
Yeah, it looks like a crate and barrel that's being moved out of.
Yeah. Where all the other Bonds had meticulously put together apartments.
Right.
The whole. I mean, this movie just delivers the things that you and I both wanted to see in a James Bond movie.
I love podcasting with you, but I can't wait to get to this movie just because I love this movie so much.
Right. It's. I can't wait to see this movie again.
I know.
I'm very excited about it.
The Henchman? Well, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself because he goes to Rome and he follows what's her name? What is her name in this? Monica Bellucci.
Bellucci's character. Does he
I guess
follow her? No, he just
the
goes
widow
to he goes
Sciarra.
to the funeral because M tells him to go to the funeral.
Yeah, and then he follows her.
Yep.
And then they get it on, and I did have to go pee, and apparently there was a murder.
There was.
I'm looking forward.
two
There's
murders.
a
You're gonna
part
see
of
a couple
Spectre that I
murders.
get to see
You're gonna
fresh.
see a couple murders. It's really great.
Because I remember that from the trailer when she winces.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't understand how that played out, but
Yeah. Plays out very nicely.
Yeah.
And so he's there to find out information about this organization. He gets the ring, keeps the ring from Scaramanga. And he has to go by that ring. But it is, I mean, think about it though. It is the fucking clinic in the Alps. It is a clinic in the Alps.
Yeah.
Tracy's at that clinic in the Alps. There's no sort of him having to be a genealogist. There's no lineage sort of situation really in it, but there is in the sense of Blofeld mentioning it.
And you got her dad wanting
Her dad
to protect her.
her dad wants protection. And
that tieback I loved. It didn't feel forced.
Oh,
It
Mr.
felt-
White being there again? Yeah.
It
That was
felt
great.
great. It felt
That was
great.
great. They earned that.
Yeah, they
earned
sure
that
did.
because they put him in 2 movies.
That's right.
So they did not. What they did not earn was what's his face?
Silva.
Silva. They did
Yeah,
not earn that
they
at
didn't
all.
need to connect that.
Didn't need to.
No.
No connection.
And they
needed.
didn't need to. They didn't need to make it that he had like architected all of this stuff just to hurt Bond. All they needed to say was, "I was the person at the top pulling these strings, and you didn't know how close I was to you this whole time." Not like I was trying to do this to you.
Yeah.
That felt a little.
But it also could have been a little bit of creative retrospecting on the character of Blofeld's part.
Yeah.
Meaning like, oh, all this shit happened because he was getting very close to sniffing out this organization. I'll just
Yeah.
tell him. You know what I'll tell him? I'm going to tell him I'm the architect of all his pain.
It will be interesting. Remember how we loved watching Casino Royale right into Quantum of Solace, but
Yes.
to watch all 4 of these in a row,
I don't know that I could muster that.
that's
That's a tall order.
That's about
That's an
11-hour
8.5-hour
day. No, yeah, you're right.
That's
No,
a
it's probably a
long
10-hour day.
Yeah.
I'm into that. Next time it rains and I'm sick, that's what's going to happen.
Oh,
as
boy.
soon as this movie comes out, I
In for
made
a
like
treat.
on.
Well, we'll get a screener soon.
Oh, you think so?
We got a Skyfall screener.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh no, I had to borrow the Skyfall screener off of a DGA member. Maybe the Writers Guild doesn't get Skyfall screeners, James Bond screeners. We'll see.
I don't think Purvis and Wade get the respect that
We'll
they
see.
deserve,
We'll
including from us.
Yeah,
So, Mr. Hinks, what a wonderful intro for a henchman.
yeah, sure.
He's fantastic. He's got little silver Lee press-on nails that kill.
Yep. They,
He's got a double gun.
They're just there for gouging out eyeballs.
Oh, so good. Mr. Hinks, they never even say his name. He only has one word,
Yep.
and it's shit.
Yep. And it's perfect henchman.
Oh, you know, his train sequence,
Yes.
the fight, I think is maybe for me the best action sequence in the movie because it felt like the stakes were personal. I think I loved this movie, but I felt like some of the set pieces were very cursory or like they just the plane and the snow and the helicopter. They just
What is in your mind? What is a great James Bond
well,
set piece?
I think the best one maybe ever is the
British flag
casino.
opening.
Well, that one, but that's more of a just a moment. Like the parkour chase in Casino Royale was incredible.
Parkour chase at Casino Royale. Great. We'll give that top billing for Daniel Craig's run. But then after that, where do you go?
Well, you got the Skyfall silhouette shootout on the. I think that's amazing.
Beautiful shot. Okay, number 2. That's number 2. Then where do you go?
I think the car chase in Quantum of Solace is
Great.
fantastic.
That's number 3. I love
Okay,
it.
I think. I actually think the Miami airport sequence in
Miami
Casino
Airport
Royale
is
is
great.
wonderful.
I think that fight. I think the first fight in Quantum of Solace after the car chase, where he's chasing that guy through the building.
Oh yeah,
across
yeah. That
the
movie, boy,
rooftops
starts promising,
of
doesn't
Italy.
it?
Well, that's when they had a screenwriter.
Yeah.
And then but to think of to put it into perspective with other Bond movie set pieces, I don't know that it's that far off the mark.
No, it isn't. But I think sometimes they can go a little by the numbers, and this felt that way a little bit at times.
You know what you're not going to. Here I think is the problem now with cinema and James Bond movies. You're never going to top the last Tom Cruise hanging on a plane, hanging on a building, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like, Mission Impossible is going to get crazier and crazier with things Tom Cruise is doing.
Yeah.
That I feel like they're just like, whatever. Let's just fucking...
Well, that's why I guess I don't want him to do that. I think that's why the train one worked for me so well, because there seemed to be a real personal moment between Hanks and Madeline Swan and Bond that it felt real. It felt within the world. The other things felt just like big blockbuster things, and I feel like Daniel Craig's Bonds have earned the right to not have to do those so grandiosely.
It's been a little while since I've watched On Her Majesty's Secret Service. My question for you, because I feel like you might have a better memory of this, is At what point does Tracy say "I love you" to James Bond?
He says it first when they're in the barn.
Right. But for some reason that feels more earned than the "I love you" in this movie.
Oh, I agree. It came out of nowhere, and they thrust their relationship along to the point where even at the end, I didn't think it was earned. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, that's the way it should be. They may not have executed it properly, but I wanted that to happen.
Right.
Because this is, regardless of whether they did it successfully, and I don't know that they did, but you want Bond to have come full circle since Vesper. And that's the one reason I really like that they have that videotape there, because it reminds you that he'll never love again, but now he's going to try again. Which, if they're setting up to do an On Her Majesty's Secret Service where she's killed, it's going to be so good.
But what they're really setting up, though, is Diamonds Are Forever.
I suppose, but
that's what they're really setting. Like, it's because it would be, the way this movie ends, and we're spoiling, obviously, huge spoiler at the beginning of this podcast. They're setting up this James Bond leaving the service, driving off in an Aston Martin with the girl he loves. They're set like there's nothing in a Bond fan's brain that doesn't tell you this is not going to end well for either of them.
But I hope that's the case, and that we get to see then that movie turns into what Lazenby and Peter Hunt's second movie would be. Not Diamonds Are Forever.
So you're okay. You think it's fine to then start the next Bond movie with the death of Swan,
because that was originally what they were going to do.
And then you're essentially looking at a Bond out for revenge. Essentially, you're now looking at License to Kill.
I'm fine with it because they kind of have to. Otherwise, he goes on another mission, and then at 5:00 he goes, "Honey, I'm home from the day's work." No, something has to happen. But the other thing is, I felt like they might have left this open for.
Maybe she brings home a book on polyamory. She's like, "James, I know what you're into, and it's okay. I've read about it. I'm a psychologist."
It crossed my mind at the end of this that Craig wouldn't come back. I know he's contracted for one more, but it seems like the producers are friendly with him and they've let him go.
He's coming back. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
I think so. Back. I did feel his fatigue a little bit in this, and it may be my own. By the way, there's this article on Birth Movies Death by Phil Noble Jr. about they're doing a series about what they're thankful for, and he did his on Casino Royale and the thing that was going on in his real life. We need to have him on the show at some point because he's so great.
Running out of reasons to get Phil Noble Jr. in here.
I know. He lives on the East Coast, but the article is so good. You should really look into it. But he also mentions that he feels in a way that maybe this is his last Bond series. Like when it goes on to a new actor, that person will be younger than him, which will be the case for me as well.
Yeah.
And that maybe you kind of graduate at some point. You still see him, but it won't be this crazy. It'll be like a bittersweet ending, which I actually really spoke to me because we've been talking about Bond for so long. I'm suffering from a tiny bit of Bond fatigue, and I feel like Daniel Craig is, and maybe it feels like the change of guard is about to come, and then we hand our mics off to two younger
Mats.
Yeah.
There's certainly, I think you get into the Bond fatigue situation whenever a new movie comes out because it so saturates everything. It saturates the market like crazy.
It does.
Ad tie-ins, you can't turn on the television and not see fucking Moneypenny running around with a cell phone or, The Art of a Man Shaving with Gillette or fucking Heineken. You can't turn on the TV and not see James Bond right now. And you can't drive down the street without seeing a Spectre billboard.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of that. And then whenever a new movie comes out, there's always the rush to put it into the pantheon.
Yeah.
So when you do that, you're thinking about 24 movies now. You're thinking about from Dr. No forward. You're trying to figure out where does this go and and I think that Bond fatigue's a real thing, and it happens every time a fucking movie comes out.
See your doctor.
Yeah, see your doctor for Bond fatigue.
Dr. Madeline Swan.
Ooh.
I did like her. I thought the acting was really good.
The acting was good.
Yeah.
I thought Christoph Waltz was a little underutilized.
Yeah, but it does feel like they're just setting him up.
Yeah, I hope that just makes him shave his head in prison.
There was
a scar on his face.
I mentioned this when they're escaping from Blofeld's lair in the desert. and it felt like Daniel Craig was moving at a real measured pace, and it reminded me of Connery in the desert in Diamonds Are Forever. Obviously not that bad, but it did feel like they made an active choice for him to just kind of slowly pivot and shoot. And I liked it. It worked because it suited his age, but it did feel like the first time I noticed it.
Had drills into his fucking brain.
That's true.
Twice. So it's not exactly like he's operating at top peak form.
Yeah. Now this is basically just our first dip into what we think of this film. We're going to see it again.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll record another episode with our more matured thoughts.
Yeah, and also we'll have a guest in to discuss at least one. Yeah. So we're not quite out of the woods yet with James Bonding, but
no,
it is an interesting. It is an interesting series they've put together because it does sort of really put the character in an interesting place because there's the whole. I mean, for me, it just turns into what is the canon of this? What is the canon of James Bond? What has the Daniel Craig character been through?
He's been through the biggest arc of any of them.
Yes, he's been through a full arc.
Well, he's the only one with an arc, really.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct. These are the only, however haphazardly connected. These are the only 4 truly connected James Bond movies, other than him visiting Tracy's grave.
Yeah,
and other than in Die Another Day when he goes down to the Q lab and you see all of the previous gadgets.
Right. And License to Kill, they talk about his ex-wife or his
they talk about Tracy
dead
for
wife.
a hot second. But it is interesting that they've chosen to do it like this. That they've chosen to sort of serialize in the realm of television. I mean, to serialize the character. To have an arc for this guy, and it is. I think it's a credit to them to do that now, but it's also going to be very interesting when they have to fucking reboot.
Right. I know. I wonder. Yeah.
I don't because now I feel like now we're in the weeds now with this character.
Right.
We're now in a place where you're following along this character, and now we're in a spot where you can't easily throw a new actor into
this.
That's
a good point. They would do well for themselves to end the next movie with him truly set up for just episodic missions, because then they could put another person in.
Yeah, but
you're right.
The question of, are they again going to then serialize this character with his own arc? It's interesting.
Marvel Universe is killing everything.
It is to the point. Well, thank God we never got the fucking Jinx spinoff with Michael Madsen as the head of American MI6. Like, God, we dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
We really dodged a bullet there. Could you imagine if we were sitting here talking about the new Jinx movie?
We wouldn't be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I think the whole sort of point of James Bond is a character that is stuck in a time.
Yeah.
I think the whole appeal of James Bond now is, and even in the 70s and 80s, is that he's a throwback.
Yeah.
He's a misogynist, as Daniel Craig is kind to point out. He is this relic.
Yeah.
And I think that always, in the later movies, even a little bit in the Roger Moore movies, they sort of touch on that. That, what are you doing? You're too old for this, blah, 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 blah. And then when the Cold War is over, they're like, you're just a relic of the Cold War, blah, 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 blah. Spying's different now. We got computers. There is that whole element to it. So it's going to be a difficult third act for Barbara and Michael G. Wilson. I call it a third act because I consider Pierce Brosnan much them, and Daniel Craig is theirs, and now this will be their third James Bond together.
You're right. I think you're right on with that. I think we should wrap it up so that we can upload this and get it off to Katie, and we can go see our movie.
Oh, boy.
And let me end by saying also, I just want to make a quick mention that I had a former student who got very ill, and some people were kind enough to donate to his cause, and I said I would do anything for anybody that did in any way that I could podcast-wise, and I'm just going to mention Katie O'Brien. She wanted a little shout-out on James Bonding, and you get more than that. You get my eternal gratitude, and thanks so much for helping out.
Katie O'Brien, good job.
And Jonathan, Honore, get better soon. We think the world of you. All right, Matt, are you ready?
The world is not enough to think of Jonathan.
That's right. That's right.
We think the universe of you, Jonathan. Get better.
Matt, are you ready to go see Spectre?
I better fucking be ready. I've been ready since the day I was born to see Spectre a second time.
Let's do this.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.